In this video, we're going to really see how Dr. Rohit Malan excelled in GMAT critical reasoning to score 760 on the GMAT. Before we go forward, let's just set some context. After having spent 10 weeks reading through books, Dr. Rohit Malan said that he did not understand the frameworks and parts of the arguments to answer any better. He realized that he needed to differentiate between partially correct options from perfectly correct ones. So he was confused between options. He didn't have the right foundation. So when it came to excelling in GMAT critical reasoning, he had to build the right foundation, and which is what he did as he went through the e-GMAT CR course. So we are now in Rohit's CR course attempt. The first thing that you really see on the top is that overall scores in concept and practice quizzes, 84% are excellent scores in concept quizzes and practice quizzes. And mind you, this is really consistent performance across 81 different feedback points. So 81 personalized feedback points, 84% scores, really good scores. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Dr. Rohit had to build the right foundation and then move on from there. So let's see how he built that. The first place where he built that foundation is in the inference module. In the inference module, he started from learning what statements really meant, and so he started from learning how to infer from a simple statement, understanding the words of only and all. And again, you can see really good scores over here. And as he went on from there, as he built that right foundation, notice the score in item 2.5, drawing inferences from multiple statements. Really good score, really good spend time. He really understood how to do inferences over here. Now, as he moved forward, there were places he faltered. For example, in practice quiz 2, you can see that he faltered. In application file 2, that he faltered. But at each and every point, he took good notes, he revised where he faltered, because of which you can really see in application file 3 and application file 4, he did really well. Again, good time spent in application file 4 just to make sure that he understood everything. One of the other highlights of this is that when Rohit faltered, he actually bookmarked questions. For example, let's go in this particular practice file where he scored poorly, and let's look at Rohit's attempts. Let's click on review, and what you see over here is that he's bookmarked question numbers 3, 4, and 6, questions that he answered incorrectly, and these were medium difficulty questions. They weren't super hard, and also he could look at the solution and figure out why he has faltered. So here is a solution over here, and in this, you can see the passage analysis in the solution. So each statement in the inference passages is analyzed. You're told the gist of the passage. You're told a clear explanation of why the correct answer choice is clear and why the answer choice that Rohit chose is incorrect. So when you do that, you understand why you make a mistake and you don't repeat that mistake. Let's go back to the course. Here are we back in our course. So that's where Rohit built his first foundation. The second place where he built his foundation is in the assumptions module. And the two reasons why you build that foundation in the assumptions module: one, you learn pre-thinking over here, and two, you learn the various argument structures. And again, as you look at entities 3.1 to 3.6, beautiful scores, 100% scores, really good time spent in entities 3.3, 3.2, and 3.4. Again, he's learning new things. He spent time, he made sure that he understood them really well. Now, even when he faltered and where he faltered, what you really see is that he spent a good amount of time over here. And because he built that right foundation, he was able to get really good scores on the official questions. And then going on into evaluate, he was able to get really good scores over here. Again, in the official questions, you see really good scores. In the practice files, you see really good scores. And the same thing carried on in the strengthen module as well. So again, essentially, once you build that right foundation and you spend some time early on, later on, things become really simple for you. Why? Because you have the foundation on which you're building up your understanding. This is the same theme that we saw in the sentence correction course, where Rohit built that foundation in subject, verb, and verbs, and he was able to breeze through modifiers and parallelism and comparison, even though they're relatively difficult modules. But once you have that right foundation, things start to you become easy for you. You've already mastered that method. You simply have to apply these new concepts in the context of the existing methods that you already know. Now let's look at Rohit's performance in Scholaranium, and again we're going to focus just on critical reasoning. The first thing that we're going to focus on is that Rohit only had to answer about 56 odd questions to hit that 90th percentile. So again, when you have the right foundation, you do not need to practice that many questions. But again, in the accuracies part, good accuracy in easy, really good accuracy in medium. When it comes to hard, Rohit faltered early on, 58% accuracy, but later on in the last 8 to 10 questions, his accuracy improved to about 70%, something that is not visible over here. But because he learned from solutions, because he bookmarked those questions, spent time revising those, he's able to improve that and eventually improve from a V32 to a V41. So again, this is an example of how data power, another example of how data power success, 77 feedback points in the CR course overall, 77 feedback points in the CR course, another 10 odd feedback points in Scholaranium. And again, when you react to that feedback, when you take that feedback in its stride and do that corrective action right then and there, success becomes more or less certain.